Jeremy Taylor, and welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, an elusive alliteration of thrilling threnody of rapturous rippling rumbustiousness. Our panel tonight, our panel tonight, the indomitable Kathleen Taylor.
Hello.
A man lost to legend and now resurrected, Jason Springer now.
JT, what's good?
What's up? A man that an international band of singers, 4 singers, 2 girls, 2 guys, wrote a song about. Fernando.
Oh, here we go. Hello.
Oh, yes, the Transylvanian Dark Lord of Literature and Pheromones is threatening to be here. He may fly in any moment. James is with us. And, of course, me, Jeremy Taylor. Shorter one tonight, but some very interesting debates. My first question is, why is ketchup, or tomato sauce as we Brits say, so delicious? Or warm mud so enticing? Back rubs, why are they never ending? What are the things that each of us cannot say no to, and thus should share with the audience, in case a member of the audience hasn't had that warm mud experience? Or things to do in ketchup?
Oh,
I'm sorry,
God.
things to do in ketchup?
Yeah.
You were the first person to speak, Jason Springer now.
First off, let me go ahead and tell you that, in my personal opinion, ketchup is disgusting.
Right.
I'm one of the few Americans I've ever found that I cannot stand ketchup. I have a bottle of ketchup in my house for guests when they come over and have a hot dog or hamburger, but I can't stand it. But as far as things that I like, one thing that I have found are waffle fries and brown gravy. Because people take fries and they like to dip them in ranch or ketchup or mustard, but I dip mine in brown gravy, and it is amazing. It is so delicious. I mean, it's just heaven.
Don't they do something like that in Canada?
They probably do. I mean,
Yeah.
they probably
Like
do.
duck gravy.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
But
we
as far as
we had a conversation, didn't we? Was it about Phillies? There's a store, isn't there, that sells Phillies.
Yes.
I forgot what
Philly
it's called.
steak?
Philly steaks.
Yeah, cheesesteak. Yeah.
Philly cheesesteaks,
Yeah, yeah.
And at this store also, you can buy a carton of fries, right? And then you can put hot brown gravy.
It's
with
so
them.
good. It is so.
And I have actually been
good.
in that store and just had the fries and gravy.
Well, there is a restaurant in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, called Murphy's Hot Hamburger. Well, no, it's just called Murphy's. Murphy's has this thing called the Hot Hamburger. The Hot Hamburger is, oh God, it's so good. I'm salivating just thinking about it.
We've noticed.
It's bread,
Dribble.
It's just
Someone
a
get
slice
a
of
tissue.
bread.
It's a bit gross.
and then you put a hamburger on it, just a big old patty hamburger. Then you put fries over it, and you just smother it all in brown gravy. It is so delicious. That is without a doubt. If it had nutritional value, I would eat that all the time. All the time. But as far as the whole mud thing, as far as that's concerned,
Sounds like
I
brown
would
gravy.
take I can't say no to a hot tub. If I've got a good hot tub after a hard day of work, yep, I'll take that every single time.
I wasn't talking about hot tub. I'm talking about warm mud.
Well, I'm going to say no to the
Just
mud.
sliding down into the mud. And
Have you done this?
Wait, is the mud made out of brown gravy?
it could be.
Then,
Or even
now we're
ketchup.
talking. Oh no,
Or worn
I'm out.
ketchup.
No.
Jamie, what do you think? What things do you find that you can share with us are just so delicious that you can't say no? You know, is it that back rub, or what is it that just is so almost naughty?
If somebody puts a tub of popcorn in front of you, can you resist having some?
Yes.
Okay, how about
Yeah.
potato chips?
Salt and vinegar. Yeah.
I bet you
Okay,
can't
so
eat
we're
just
getting there.
one.
Salt and
Yeah.
vinegar.
But I'd have to say stimulating conversation
Thank God you
is
said
something I would find it difficult to live without.
Well, are we talking about? I thought we were talking about physical things.
Oh.
You know, like.
Well, yeah,
because that's the way you.
We're open to
frame it.
interpretation.
That's
it's
the way
open
you-
to. I'm trying to find out what it is that you know, you die and go to hell or heaven or whatever it is, and you're going to think, God, I want to really miss those back rubs or my mud bath or ketchup or something. You know.
Has anybody
what's it-
ever
what's it-
said
what are you going to
stop
miss?
on a
Yeah.
massage?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't care about massages. To tell you the truth, and I don't do baths as well. I know you like them.
You know what I mean? Like a hot tub? You don't do hot tubs?
Well,
Dude, a hot tub, man.
Hot tubs are good.
Oh, yeah. After a
With
hard day's work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And with a
dude.
drink.
Yeah, right there,
Yeah.
man. Especially on a nice, cold evening like tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Indoor
you're
hot
right.
tub or outdoor hot tub?
Outdoor.
Hot tubs are good.
Outdoor.
Oh,
So
yeah.
somebody has a
Baths.
hot tub in their garden and a bottle of booze on it. You guys would just strip off and jump in.
All women love bath.
Wait,
I don't.
why wouldn't I do that?
Don't. It seems
Okay.
like all women love it. I mean, at least
you'd
all
be
of those
embarrassed?
romantic comedies I've
Like
seen.
soaking in your own dirty water.
Yeah, like in a soup of your skin. You know, remnants of your skin.
Well,
and
I
dirt.
think the reason a lot of women like that is because it's the only place in the house you can be left alone.
And how do you feel about all these romantic comedies where the protagonist, the woman, the young lady takes a bath and there's about 700 to 800 lit candles
Oh, yeah, that's
around
right.
her,
Yeah.
which is probably, first of all, it's going to take you probably 3 to 4 hours to light them.
Well,
Also,
but you know what though? It's not even
Yeah.
young ladies. When you think of the Big Lebowski, the dude would take
the
baths.
dude also,
He also
a
do
million
that.
candles.
Of course, he'd just get high in his bath with all the candles and
Yeah. But it's like one of
Listen
those.
to
Those
whales.
candles are
Oh, yeah.
expensive, by the way. Expensive.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
talking. You either do those candles or you buy a BMW. You know, you have a choice.
Tea lights just don't
And
pack
then
it, no.
cleaning the wax and all that stuff. That is just ridiculous. But I don't care for baths. I don't
But so
care
what
about
is it?
massage.
What is it for you?
Wow.
Massages. So what
French
do you
word.
care for then?
Isn't.
You know what I like? I like when I'm asleep. I like these giant long pillows that you grab onto. For some reason, this like, and every once in a while I'd wake up and I'm like, this is so awesome.
What about your waterbed?
Also, yeah, the water bed. I love water beds. I love the water bed because you're floating. Once you get used to those, you're never going to a regular bed. So yeah, we do have a water bed, and it's absolutely incredible. And I go
What
to.
would you do about the tides with the waterbed? I mean, do the tides come
just
in?
flow
or
with the tide.
You do,
You
yeah.
just flow with the tide. You know, I go to Bulgaria every summer for a month, and when I come back, I'm just my bed. I can swim in my bed again. I
Right.
love it. I know a lot of people hate it or they get seasick, but I love the waterbed. What else do I like? You know, there's a movie. My favorite movie, Wings of Desire, involves two angels. And one of them is longing to become mortal. He's fed up with being just presence, and it's the entire movie is a metaphor about choice and participating in life fully. But he longs to just take off his shoes and stretch and wiggle his toes. And when he said that in the movie, I thought, damn, I like that too.
Yeah, that is actually
after a
pretty
long
good.
day.
After a long day of work, just coming up
Yeah.
and taking your shoes off and,
And just
yeah.
wheel your toes and
Yeah.
stretch. You know, there's a lot of things that I like small things,
I think that's a good point you hit on. It's just always the little things.
the
that
little
probably-
things that you don't think
Yeah,
about.
that you really never think about.
Yeah.
Well, how
What
about
about-
some
okay.
some slightly more common things like games, solitaire on the computer, or something similar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, these very addictive things. That when you're sitting there and you're thinking, right, I got 5 minutes before I have to leave. Okay, I'll play a game of solitaire, or I'll get on. Yeah, and 10, 20 minutes later, you're thinking, oh, I better quit this.
So what are some of the things that you could not do without?
Could not do
Tell the
without.
truth.
Well, other than potatoes. And of course, my dear husband.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. You happy now?
Potatoes came first, Jeremy.
And the back
Potatoes.
rubs are
I knew that. I knew that
fantastic.
when
I
I married
love
her.
having a back rub. Yeah.
I knew that. Yes.
Oh, we can go on forever with this topic.
Fernando,
Yep.
Yes,
you know you're from a foreign country like me.
correct.
Is there anything that's personal to you that you really, sort of secret squirrel stuff you just share with us?
Maybe a comfort food or something.
Is there a comfort food? Is there something that you really, maybe it's sitting on the lavatory. I don't know. What is it?
Well, I mean, there is a bunch of stuff like food-wise, but I mean, I thought you were talking about ketchup. Was it?
Ketchup.
Am I
I
right?
don't know why he said ketchup was addictive. I just don't
You
get
know,
it.
but it's weird, like ketchup. Like I don't remember like Heinz when I was kid over there.
Yeah.
Like they opened the market, but I remember like at least in my family when I think it's the first time I saw that stuff. Maybe it was early 80s, and only there was a second cousin of my mom. He was the only kid that he was addicted on that. It was like some whatever brand. And then it was common, like for hot dogs. Hot dogs always they serve with ketchup and mustard. Ketchup and mustard. No, here is the common would be only mustard, right? For a hot dog, there was always ketchup, mustard, mayo. Then we top with mashed potato.
Oh man, why do you need a hot dog with that? It sounds so
It
great
is
without
no,
it.
and it's great. And the good
wait.
story is
Mashed
not
potatoes.
Yeah, you
hot
kind
dog.
of don't let it like the stuff fall.
Oh, I
like,
love it.
That holds it. And then
Dude, I would eat the hell out
Hang
of
on,
it.
hang on,
That sounds-
hang
that sounds
on,
delicious.
it's
Jason,
not
the
the hot.
Wait, can I put some gravy on
and
there
not
too?
like not the hot dog bun.
No?
It's like a French baguette.
Oh, big
It's
enough to hold the
a
whole
little
thing.
thicker.
Uh-huh.
And that was the
It's a lot of
normal hot
carbs
dog. And
surrounding
then
a
they
hot
started to
dog.
standardize, and then McDonald's came through, and things got normal. Now, like back in the day, it was a common thing too. You go to just
Damn
adding like at McDonald's, people got pissed. They start adding ice. So people like say, "I want my drink with no ice," because there was no refills. They think they're getting ripped off somehow. Once, like with my ex, it was hilarious about the ice. Now it's different. If you go there, that we're talking about. There was a transition, but it's funny how U.S. can normalize many countries around the world. So once I went to the theater, like in some small mid-sized town, and my ex asked for just a glass of Coke, and there was no ice. And I said, "Oh, may I have some ice?" "No, it's pre-cold. It's perfectly cold." The server got a little upset. It was pretty funny.
I tell you what Fernando likes. I know something that he loves is Tarkovsky movies, like watching Russian Tarkovsky movies, like slow. I'm talking like a 7-minute long zoom in of a Russian woman. It's a short one for Tarkovsky, of a Russian like scarf wearing woman staring through a window, and he can watch this for hours and loves it. He's a very artistic guy. And just put a Tarkovsky movie like Solaris, the original Solaris.
The only I don't.
You don't even discuss the George Clooney
Watch
story.
who would
How
commit
dare
a
they.
crime to
Touch the
remake
Tarkovsky.
Tarkovsky?
He loves Tarkovsky
Right?
so much he named his son after him.
But
And
Evo, for instance, and one of the things I know you like doing is getting in the car and driving.
yes, I was about to say, you read my mind.
I know,
sir.
it's frightening, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
It's because we come from Europe, you see.
Unbelievable.
And
So what
both
about you,
our
our esteemed leader? What about you?
me?
Yeah.
There are two things that I really
His
like doing.
workshop.
Yeah, the workshop. I could see that.
One is leaving aside workshops and all that sort of jazz, and my books and stuff. I'm not sure quite what my favoritist thing is, but I love sitting in the bathroom, and by that I mean the bathroom, the room with the bath in it, and slowly running the bath. Okay, so the bathroom, which is not a big room, gets warmer and warmer and warmer and steamy. And I like to just sit there and read a book or do a puzzle or something, and I can sit there for an hour before, and then
Not in the bath.
I think, oh crap, I've got to get in the bath now.
Yeah. Interesting. I have a similar thing, and you reminded me of. I like, especially when it's still dark and I have to wake up early in the morning. I like to go in the shower, take a shower, and let the water run, and I'm still half asleep, and I turn the light off.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
You've done that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
showers.
so
Showers in
cozy.
the
I've
dark
not
are
done that.
fantastic. Showers in the dark are fantastic.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I'm almost half asleep, and the water is flowing. It's like I'm under a waterfall.
Yep.
And it's just the best thing.
It
And I don't
really-
want to
yep.
get out.
Yeah.
Sometimes he falls asleep.
Yes.
Evo, I need in the shower.
One of the other things that I don't do and haven't done for nearly 20 years was when I was previously married. My wife then, she liked to go shopping. And she enjoyed shopping, and she would go and blow as much of our money as she possibly could in as fast a time as possible. But one of my favourite things was we'd be in central London, right in the middle of London, and I would let her out of the car, and off she'd go, credit cards in her holsters, ready to go. And I would just sit in the car and people watch.
Oh, I thought you pretended to hit her.
No. I thought about on the way back, but then I thought, I love people watching. I can sit in the car, not doing anything, not smoking a cigarette, drinking a cup, nothing. Just sit there and watch the people walking along the sidewalk. And thinking, I wonder where they're going or what they're doing, or that's a nice dress or an interesting jacket, or I wonder, I just find it fascinating. I can do that for hours, literally hours.
That's a good one.
Yes, that's a very good one.
I have a colleague I've worked with for 30 years, and she and I have traveled around the U.S., and we play the airport game where we sit in the airport and we make up stories about the people that are in the airport that we're able to see.
Yeah, I do the same.
We make up stories about their lives.
I like to sit at a coffee shop if they have a big window. I try to get the table by the window and just look at the people walking on the street. Sometimes it rains, and that's the best. Just looking out, having a cup of coffee, and just imagining what these people's life are like, making up stories about them, just like you said.
But you like to sit out and take photographs of people?
Well, not in this case.
Yeah. Kathleen?
I would choose a seat in a coffee shop that was in a corner with a half-decent light so that I could work some puzzles and ignore everybody around me. That would be my idea of heaven. So,
Kathleen's kids say that when Mum is working a puzzle reading a book or quilting, and reading a book is, you could let off an atomic weapon and she wouldn't know about it.
Jigsaw puzzles?
No, I mean number puzzles and logic puzzles. And
okay.
that sort of thing. Sudoku, that sort of thing.
All right, so that's interesting.
Sorry, I've passed Sudoku. So they're too easy.
Jigsaw puzzles, though.
So what we've really come down to, it's interesting that a lot of this is driven by food. Brown gravy, salt and vinegar, chips or fries, and potatoes. And so we've learnt that Jason, for instance, will roll on his back and stick his feet in the air if he's given fries and brown gravy, which
That's
we
true.
must try at some point.
Mashed potato.
So next question I want to ask is, because I'm English and we're going back, and the lovely Meghan Markle, who's gotten herself engaged to our Prince Harry, I can give you a bit of information you're going to want to know. We used to talk about the lovely Princess Di, bless her. The late Princess Di, she was known as Princess Di, that's what everyone called her. This one is going to be called Megs.
Megs. Princess Megs.
She's going to be called Princess Megs. They're already shouting Megs.
May I ask a
at her.
question? Why do you have to add the S? Why don't they just call her Princess
It's
Meg?
an English thing.
It's a British thing.
It's just a British thing.
Just
yeah.
curious.
But that got me thinking about etiquette, because she has to learn the etiquette of being married to a royal prince, a prince of the blood, it's called. And so she has to always be 3 steps behind him if she's going to be, comply with the right etiquette.
Dracula, Prince of the Blood?
Yeah. And so all sorts of things like that, who curtsies to who. And I thought, bringing that down to our level, etiquette, opening doors for ladies, car etiquette, for instance, who sits in the front, cell phone and text etiquette. I mean, there's all sorts of bits of etiquette like that, like if you do something on the cell phone, you mustn't do it in caps because that's shouting. Dressing for a particular occasion. Be it work, play, social, ceremony. I've decided I will only wear a tie now at weddings and funerals. I will not wear a tie otherwise.
It's clever.
Farting. What's the etiquette? You've got to let go
You
of a
should
rip
wear a
snorter.
tie when you're farting.
You've got to let go of a
Obviously.
rip snorter. What's the etiquette of that? Picking up one's food. Eating with one's mouth shut. or picking up one's food. If the Queen can do it, and she does, then is it right for everybody else? Eating with one's mouth shut or open. I find it horrifying when people eat with their mouth open. It's just gross. And then titles and so on and so forth. And when it comes down to it, does it all matter? I don't know. Jamie, what do you think?
I think etiquette matters. I think it's important to have good manners. I believe others look at your manners, look how you're dressed, look how you behave. So I would say I think etiquette's important. There's maybe some modernization of etiquette that's different, but I think it's rude when people are in a meeting and they're texting or they're on their computer and sending emails and they're not paying attention to what's occurring, or at a workshop or whatever they may be in that they feel is more important, driving their car, texting on the phone. So I think it matters.
Etiquette has changed so much since the advent of social media. That's just, not very many years now. But possibly etiquette on Twitter has more consequences than your etiquette in real life these days.
What's the etiquette on Twitter? What is the etiquette?
Again, as an example, all caps. You are a terrible person.
Right.
If
Well, but
you,
that's
if you
not,
tweet
that's
in
not
all
Twitter.
caps.
That's email and everything.
And texting and the whole lot. Yeah, but it's just in real life, people are fairly loose about what they are expecting. They do not expect people to call you sir or miss or Mrs. or whatever. You just don't find that.
It seems like that one is going away.
Yeah.
Very-
Yeah. I wonder how are teachers referred to these days in the classroom? Is it
Right.
Mr. and Mrs. or Miss?
I think so. Or
It's definitely Mr. I mean,
Mr.,
there are times where I will have students, because I'll have a lot of my students, when they're sophomores, they'll come back and take my class. Maybe when they're seniors, they'll take a different class. And they'll still sit there and call me Mr. Springer, and I'll look at them and say, hey, I've known you for 3 years. You can just call me Springer. Or students who've graduated, I tell them, you don't need to call me Mr. anymore. And they say, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm like, okay.
But in the UK, you would get into trouble if one addressed a teacher by his name only. It would be Mr. or Ms. or Miss or and they wouldn't be allowed to just say, hey, Springer.
Right. Well, going back to the whole idea of sir, one of the reasons I believe that I always had good classroom management and I never had to really punish my students is because I always addressed them. Whenever a student would ask me a question, I'd look at them and go, sir or ma'am. That's how I would look at them, and that's how I would address them, because they're not used to people calling them sir or ma'am. And I think that was one of the reasons that I was able to have such good classroom management, because as Jamie kind of harped on a minute ago, she talked about manners. Really, when you talk about etiquette, it's really all about respect. That's what etiquette really boils down to, is just showing respect for somebody.
Yeah.
And that's why etiquette is important to some extreme. But again, it depends upon your social situation.
Eva, you were brought up in Bulgaria, which at that time was a fully communist country. Everybody's supposed to be equal and so on and so forth. There is a Bulgarian royal family.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Yes.
But what about etiquette in Bulgaria? I mean, would your dad 30 years ago, would he open the door for your mum?
Yeah.
Yes. So we got that.
Yeah, there was gender etiquette. It's still very
Still
prevalent.
today.
Yeah. And there's some interesting differences too. For example, public transportation was a lot of buses, cable cars, trolleys, and they had high steps. And so when somebody was getting off of the bus, first the man would get off and then hold the lady's hand as she comes down. And I think I've had people like Americans that would get offended, like women.
Not
American
women in high heels. Believe me, they would
Yeah.
like
They'd love it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason was the high heels and the skirts, because it's hard to come down those stairs. And if you fall, at least you have somebody that's holding and can catch you. So that was one of it. Also, like when a couple was walking into a restaurant or a bar, the guy would always come in first. Because what happens is people that are already in the bar, when somebody opens the door, they all look. at the door, and you don't want the lady feels uncomfortable if she's walking first and everybody's looking at her.
And
So
the
that's
piano
why,
player
that's
stops playing
interesting.
and everybody draws their gun, right?
Yeah, no. So
Because here you hold the door open for the
Yes.
lady.
Yeah.
There you go in before
it's
them.
yeah, it's the other way. And of course, you know the thing about walking on the outside of the sidewalk. So if something,
Well, you have
yeah.
women do that.
Yeah. So, you know, there's interesting. I feel like. Oh, by the way, etiquette is a French word. Almost every second word in Bulgarian is French. I've determined that our language
seriously?
is extremely infiltrated by French. Probably in the beginning of the 20th century. So, almost every second or maybe every third word is French. But etiquette is one of those French words that we don't have a substitute for, and it means two things. It means etiquette, but also etiquette is how we pronounce it. Etiquette also means the label on a product is
Oh,
etiquette.
really?
Yeah. So if there's something, you have the same thing in Portuguese.
actually,
etiquette.
exactly the same.
So that's kind of interesting. I wonder what where it comes, the etymology of the word. It's maybe it was first a label or something.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
you know, I have though some questions. I feel like we've discussed this before, but when it comes to etiquette, first of all, it's very confusing to me to this day. Miss or Mrs. when you don't know if a lady is married or not.
Miss.
It's Miss always.
Miss.
So if
Always.
you're writing
Always.
a letter,
Miss.
it's always Miss.
Miss.
Yep. Always.
Second, okay, so that question's answered. I never Googled it.
And we're done with that one.
Yeah.
Check.
So how about when you're on an airplane and you have the middle seat? Who gets those handles? Because you have two arms. And
Me.
So you will.
Let's take both.
You armrests. The armrests.
Just do it.
Whoever
no.
has the sharpest elbows generally wins.
There's
that's
got to
a
be
good
some kind of
point.
etiquette
Yeah.
Yeah, because
you're
someone's
in the
going to
middle-
get two.
Yeah, so I say the person that's in the middle is in the biggest disadvantage because everybody hates the middle. You're kind of squished. So
They
that
should
person
have
should at
both.
least have the both armrests, don't you
You
think?
should write an article
Here
about
we go.
that
They should.
Yep.
for Southwest.
The thing is, I've discovered, and we'll be trying this in a week or so, is I rest my elbows way back first, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly work them forwards when no one's noticing, and then I refuse to move.
And
the
you
other
are
thing,
actually
You're
a
that
very
guy.
broad
You are that
person.
guy.
and the other
can
thing
see
that,
why.
that I was taught by my wife was when you get, a seat, say there's a seat inside you, so you're on the outside seat, for example, and you don't want someone to come sit in the middle, the thing to do is to go to sleep, right? Is to pretend to be sound asleep and take up a lot of space, which means that the person has got to wake you up to get in to take the seat. This is obviously on aeroplanes where you don't have assigned seating, but
You could cough very loudly. They think you have typhoid and they won't
There you
sit by
go.
you
there is
too.
another one, yeah.
Or you can act like you're really scared and you just kind of white knuckle and grab the armrest. If I sat next to someone doing that, I'd be like, "Yep, you can have the armrest." 'cause
Well,
you're
we
freaking me
used to
out."
have the thing, all of us are old enough to remember when people smoked in restaurants. And it was always weird, wasn't it, how the person, they'd eat their meal, so they're a little ahead of you, right? And the cigarette would be between their two of their fingers. The cigarette would make it up and it would live hot end out from where their ear is, right? So as if they're going to put it into their ear, right?
That's a good idea.
And so you lean forwards or you say, "Excuse me, I'm trying to eat my meal," and they look at you and sort of, "Too bad," right? So I learnt this wonderful phrase. "Oh, well, do you mind if I fart?" They then get the message that it's about, thinking about, as you say, it's about caring about other people, isn't it, really?
Yeah. It's interesting. That
Kathleen, what do you think
Yeah.
about having the door open for you and stuff like that?
Oh, well, I open doors for people and people open doors for me. I think when two humans approach a door, they sort of assess the situation, and the person who needs the door opened for them gets it opened for them.
That's a good
Totally
point.
agree. It could be
Yeah.
not about the age or gender. Like,
Exactly.
could it be a
Neat.
12-year-old behind me?
Sure.
I would hold it.
I got a gentleman with a cane. I'll open the door for him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Have you ever thought, because I've been thinking a lot about this, when doors are being opened, like you're going into the gas station and somebody's opening the door and he's going in, and they always hold the door for you. You're coming in.
Yeah, it's kind of backwards, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
it's
holding it
awkward.
so you can walk in, but it's always like that. It's like people are holding it, and I figured out why. Not because they think that you can't open the door for yourself.
Right.
It's because they don't want. It's kind of rude, the door coming back in. It feels like
Yeah.
they're letting the
It's
door
less
hit
rude that
you.
way. Yeah.
So it's just the feeling that you're letting the door and it's coming towards another person, and I feel like that's why people are always holding the doors. Not
It's either
not
that or they
because-
want them to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. In the town that
Come in,
we're
get out of my way.
broadcasting from, there is an Aldi's, and a number of supermarkets do what Aldi's do, and that is that in England it's a pound coin, here it's 25 cents. You have to put the coin into the trolley to get the chain out so you can use the trolley. So I've taken to, because I find it fascinating.
Shopping cart, yeah.
Shopping cart.
Shopping cart, yeah, shopping cart. I find it fascinating. I take the shopping cart back, but I don't. I leave it so it's clearly to use for somebody else. Mostly when I've stopped to watch, people watching, someone takes it and they go, oh, cool, and off they go. And I hope that they pass it on. Only once did I find a fat guy with a disabled badge on, wearing camouflage trousers and jacket, with an even fatter wife also wearing camouflage jacket.
And if you
things.
recognize yourself, Bill and
if
Betty,
you recognize
you should
yourself,
be ashamed.
and he comes and he's got his cart. He comes out with his cart, and then he sees the cart I've left there for the next person. He goes, "Ha!" And he stuffs that in, takes the 25 cents, my 25 cents, puts his cart in and takes his 25 cents, and he's got two 25 cents now. And he goes back, and he's elated, and he goes back and tells his little fat wife, "Look, some guy didn't put the 25 cents. I've up 25 cents."
Oh wow!
Listen, somebody who's
story is
elated by
fantastic.
that
I don't know why, but
What
the
a
story's
story.
hilarious.
Needs
as hell.
it.
Freaking
Right?
devastating.
Yeah.
So
That's why I just
the
use a
character
toothpick.
description
That is-
I don't put the
that
bars.
is not good etiquette. How
That is
about
not good etiquette now.
But maybe he needed the 25
To buy
cents.
ammo.
To
Maybe.
buy,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Camouflage.
They're in a 2 or
Eggs.
3 year old SUV. Yeah,
Oh, you
right.
didn't mention that part of the
Yeah, you
story.
kind of missed that.
I'm gonna-
Yeah.
Sadly, those are the guys that will survive zombie apocalypse. The
They
guys that are
will.
wearing camouflage and taking your 25 cents.
On the other hand, I went to Aldi's one time, and in every one of the carts, in the stacks waiting to be taken, there was a quarter. Somebody had come along and stuffed quarters in every one of them
That's
in
nice.
orders
Oh, that's
that
wonderful.
people could.
That's sweet. I have
I know.
questions.
It was me.
Okay, Evo has questions. Go, Evo.
Thanks,
Many
man.
questions, actually.
Right,
Many,
yeah.
many
You're welcome.
questions. So,
Many Questions is a name for a band, isn't it?
Not
Chinese
really.
band.
no, many
No,
questions.
hair
Like an
loss.
easy listening band, maybe.
No. So
loss product.
we spend in the United States. We spend a large portion of our lives in a car. So let's talk about car etiquette. For example, when
It doesn't exist.
I'm trying to cut in and somebody allows me to, I always roll down the window and I acknowledge.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
No, no.
So not in America where everybody has a gun. The question is the reverse. When I mess up, when I inadvertently cut in front of somebody and I feel bad, how do I acknowledge that I've messed up? And there,
You do exactly what you just talked about. You put your hand up, you roll down the window, put your hand up, and that's basically, hey, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, my bad.
Yeah, try to
That's
wave, my bad.
exactly
the
it.
flat palm.
Yeah, you just kind of like, hey,
Just
I'm
a
sorry,
wave
I'm
with your
sorry.
hand.
But they do
Flat
have those
out.
lights that plug into the back of your car, and you can send messages to the car behind you. You
that's
could do
too
something.
much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Is this a real
message.
It's a
thing?
thing. It's a
Are
thing.
you
kidding
I've got
me?
one for
People
you.
will
Back
get
of your
shot. with
car.
that. People
So
will
we're
get
on a
killed.
we're on a
wanna
4-lane
kill
highway,
those.
2 lanes going. Let's say we're going west. So 2 lanes going west, right? And there's an on ramp. Yes, on ramp. and there's a vehicle coming down the on-ramp, right? And they don't stop. They just keep coming. They want you to pull over into effectively the inside lane, the fast lane.
Yeah.
Right? So I've always been confused about this because I read the highway code when I came to take my driving test.
Yeah.
And it says that I have the right of way. When you're coming in, you should slow down.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
let
they're
that's
supposed to
that's
yield
it,
to,
right.
to traffic.
And so in the end, I thought, I happened to be talking to someone who drives a semi. A guy, big, heavy guy, drives a semi. And I bought some stuff off him, and I said, by the way, I just want to ask you, what's the... He said, it's very clear. He said, we have to slow down. Because he said, if... And he drives for a company, you know. He said, if we were to take out a car, we are responsible. He said, it's a no-question job. You know, we're responsible. Wow. He said, most people pull over. Because I've been driving with my wife, you know, out in the middle of Iowa or something, and you end up where there's 2 trucks, semis behind you. You've got nowhere to go, right? And the car's still coming.
Well, if there's nowhere to go, then you haven't got a question. But if you're just trying to stay in that lane out of sheer bloodiness, then move over. Yeah, you.
I mean, Evo, would you say I'm a sort of bloody person who would do that sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely you
To
are.
make a point.
I
read the driving book. You didn't.
No, merging. If you're merging, you don't have the right of way. You know, you have to slow down and you have to be careful because those guys are flying on the highway. They're full speed. With going 70, 80 miles an hour on the highway, every little rapid movement can cause your car to flip. So definitely the people that are merging have the right of way. Don't have the right of way. I usually, when I cut in front of somebody, I let them immediately pass me, and I do this. You know, I'm like, it's me.
hit your forehead, right?
It's me. So, I mean, that's one thing I do. Also, how about...
They probably think that you're in there off your meds, and they get away from you as quickly
Yeah.
as possible.
And the other thing, you know, you should have a piece of paper, or a little piece of card, right?
Or you just do this.
A card, all right, that you have in your glove compartment and next to your, you know, the pocket, that says, I'm a fucking Bulgarian, fuck off.
Yeah.
And you hold that up when they go past.
That's a good idea.
And they'll be terrified.
Yeah,
No, they have guns.
Then they'll shoot
that's
him.
that's a good idea.
He doesn't have a gun.
Not the Bulgarian barbarian, they won't shoot. But for the listeners out there, please, people, when driving, follow the unwritten etiquette. If you're at a stop sign or at a traffic light, please don't fucking pick your nose.
No.
Do not. It
thing
seems to me
ever.
like it's happening all the time now.
More
Every
and
time
more.
I stop by someone, I
Yeah.
look at them and they're picking their nose.
And
Why?
what's even worse is when they eat it.
That's
That's
happened.
it.
That's
we
happened
talked
too.
about that because that was
Yeah,
my
that's-
gross thing. Yeah, we
That
talked
has
about that.
happened too. Another question: when writing an email,
Loops right back up to the why is ketchup so delicious? No,
it
no.
used
At
to
70
be,
miles an hour. Writing an email at 70 miles an hour is a
Wow.
morning out with the Undertaker.
That's
Why
very
are you eating
true.
boogers with ketchup?
Yeah. When writing
There
an
you go.
email or you know, sending a message nowadays, it used to be that I would start a letter to somebody that I don't really know. I started with dear Jim, dear whatever. But because of electronic communication has trivialized communication so much, it kind of feels awkward nowadays to start with dear Mike or dear John or it feels like I should start with hello
Yeah.
or something.
Hi, John,
That's how I've
or
been
whatever.
going
I
lately.
use hello or so. You know,
It
if
used
I'm
to be always
responding-
dear. It was part
Yeah.
of the etiquette.
Oh, right.
I
It would be
use
Dear
greetings.
Evo, yeah.
Greetings
Greetings is good.
greetings is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and how do you finish? Best regards? or-
Sincerely.
Sincerely.
I finish all the best.
I finished
There you go.
just regards.
And it
Okay.
probably, if it's someone I know, then I'll put like cheers or something like
Cheers.
that.
Yeah,
But if
a
it's
little
like a first time communication, I always start with greetings, always end with sincerely, and then I put my full name, not just my first name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For the first time, I actually learned things at this podcast. Valuable stuff.
Okay, my last question, because we're doing a shorter one today. Last question tonight. I'm interested to know that I don't know anything about computers. I hate computers. But my thought was this: can computers get much faster? And is there a point soon when their response will be so immediate that they simply can't be improved upon for the average user?
Yeah, they can, because you still have to type stuff into the damn things.
Yeah, but there's going to come a point, and we've got some computer
Yeah.
whizzes here. Isn't there going to come a point in a few years when
Well, I
it
think
will
it's already
it will
already
react as
there.
fast as you
the
can
technology
type?
is already there. Like it's even like it's bizarre. Like compared, like what the PC was, what it is now. Man, like how long it takes to install, or like all the mechanics, like
So do you
hard
think?
drives,
Do you
they're all
think?
solid
better.
state.
Do
like,
you think then, Fernando, that there's going to come a point when, for the average person, not someone like yourself, but for the average person like me,
yeah.
the computer can't get any quicker? Do you see what I mean?
Well,
It
the
does
computer
everything
always
so.
I mean, they will be quicker, but I mean, do you need, like? I mean, I don't see.
Yeah, well, that's really what I'm getting at. That it is effectively. Will it become effectively immediate? You ask it a question.
I don't
as,
think so.
Well,
Hello, Fernando.
That's different,
How
so-
old are you?
so is that the
you,
internet?
you know,
So I mean, the computer is already capable to answer to you on that speed. Now,
right.
the internet. Actually, the internet is capable of that, but they don't deliver it on that speed. That makes sense. Like it's too slow because they close the holes and they don't deliver as fast as they could.
Well, what about all these Siri and so on, the home ones? Where
Right.
you simply ask a question out
Alexis.
loud,
Yeah.
in the middle of the room, well, what temperature is it out? And it answers immediately.
Immediately.
So
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference though between something like that, just knowing a fact, versus basically solving a problem. And with your brain, you can find a solution just like that. I don't see computers ever getting faster than the human brain. I mean, unless they put chips in brains themselves, or you have some very, very high-tech artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
A
that's
human
the whole
brain,
AI.
it's hard for me to
goals.
imagine that a computer at some point will surpass a human brain.
Well, there's a thing, isn't there? What's it
Hold
called?
on,
the
hold on,
Turing,
hold on.
The Turing
Hold on,
rule or something.
Jason. What did you eat 10 years ago for lunch?
Mac and cheese.
The computer would have answered that much faster.
well, yeah. And
Okay.
what
Fernando.
what
I
is
think
the,
that was a bluff. I saw your eyes moving to the.
No, I was looking right at you, buddy. And mac and cheese was delicious because I didn't put ketchup on it. It was good.
Gravy.
that's
No, soy sauce actually.
From a
That's actually even better.
That's different. That's cataloging information and just recalling information recall.
Query.
But what was Moore's law? Moore's law states that every 6 months the computer capacity doubles, right? The chip capacity doubles. There's a limit, though, with silicon-based chips, right?
True.
But we're moving towards nanomaterials now.
Correct. I mean,
Nanotechnology.
always
and
there
that's
is
limitless.
Always
yeah.
there is breakthroughs, like reducing the voltage and
The circuits are getting smaller and smaller, and we will eventually surpass. Probably certain things will be surpassed. So. You're right, the human brain is the most complicated thing in the universe. That's like 3 pounds in your head that is the most complicated things that we have encountered in the entire universe. There's 100 billion nerve cells and trillions of connections between them, the human connectome. Currently, supercomputers, the most powerful computers in the world, there's several projects like this. One of them is in the desert in Arizona. And they're trying to recreate the human connectome, the human brain. They are working at full capacity, the most powerful computers in the world, at full capacity every second of the day. They have deciphered 1% of 1% of the human brain. So this is how complicated the human brain is.
Yeah.
So in terms of abstract thinking, in terms of our consciousness, what is it that makes us us? We are not even close. In terms of other things, like playing chess against the greatest chess player, Garry Kasparov, and he getting annihilated by a computer, we can't compete with this. They compute billions and billions of possible outcomes in 1 second. But at the same time, I don't know if they'll ever. Well, maybe someday the artificial intelligence will surpass us, but for now we are not there yet. Eventually, Alexa probably will know what we want before we ask it. you know.
Alexa has already solved one murder.
Alexa has?
Yes.
Well, you
Really?
mean the pre-recording? Alexa
The-
doesn't do anything there. So at the end, they're recording everything that happens there. What blows my mind that they're able to recap that. So that means there is storage in what you're saying.
Right.
So my
Yeah.
question is, do you want to buy my Alexa?
Well, I don't know.
Are you
because
selling it?
Yes.
No,
I don't want to.
I don't
Did I
want.
scare
no.
you?
They record you, that's all.
I know. I
They're-
like my Alexa. I don't care. She can record.
I don't know. There's something to being able to solve my own problems and find my own answers. That I feel like
So
humanity.
you don't ever use Google?
I do use Google. I'll admit
Well,
that.
that's Alexa.
Same thing.
Yeah.
She just does it so you
just
don't have to type
verbalizes
it.
it.
You don't have to type it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a
You got-
big-
yeah.
It's
Can
just
you
a verbal
can you
Google.
choose? Can you choose?
And I guess I
what
could just
sort
turn on the
of,
television to the Weather Channel on the phone and
language
find out how-
Alexa
okay, okay.
responds in.
Yeah. All right.
Can you choose
I see
what
your
sort
point.
of language?
I
that's-
think
no,
it's
that's a very
only
good
English so
point.
far, isn't it?
Right. I don't know.
I don't know. We tried. A Bulgarian friend of ours was here a couple months ago, and he fell in love with Alexa. And wanted
He
to
loved Alexa.
wanted to take her home to Bulgaria, but I don't think it was available in.
No, she doesn't speak Bulgarian.
or
language.
is not available. The
And
service
does
is not
she have a
available.
particular
available.
accent? I mean, is it an American speaking or English? What?
I think you can change it to Spanish.
I-
I mean, there's a couple of languages you can change her to.
Yeah, I never like mess around with, but I'll not be surprised. Like Google, it's pretty flexible on that. Like if Alexa is not, it's because there's no reason for it.
But
Can
for
we ask
the
Alexa to take part in one of these
yes, but
podcasts?
for
You could,
that's
Can you rename Alexa?
It's such a dumb
Does it have
device.
to be
Like,
Alexa?
and you can't rename it. It's Alexa.
But where,
Sucks.
no,
My
where I'm
ex-wife's
Oh,
name
can
is
you
Alexa.
rename it?
yeah,
question
my Echo
I
actually,
had
I
was-
renamed it to Echo.
Oh, you did?
So you can
You
rename it.
Oh,
You can
that's
But it's
a
not
great
random
idea.
names. I think you have a few, three
few
or four
options that are
choices.
programmed.
Yeah.
So what
that's-
happened?
that's
What
too
would
bad.
happen if we had Alexa here at the podcast and we asked her, "Why do you like back rubs?"
Many times I like
mean-
to say,
See, that's it.
sorry,
See,
I
that's the
don't
thing.
understand,
That's why-
but would like to buy more products.
That's why humans will always
Like,
surpass computers.
Yeah, I
Things
don't
like that.
order
Why do you
things off
like
of it.
this? Why do you like that? Or what is your opinion on this? Or what is your opinion on that? That's why I don't see a computer ever surpassing a human brain.
We primarily use her for music, so I mean, I don't think we.
Yeah.
I
ask a lot
don't.
of
I
things.
forgot what it is, but isn't there a test which is called the Turing test about when a computer actually has its own, it thinks.
Yeah.
That's the Turing test, isn't it? I think, or something like that.
I believe the developers of Siri actually went over to an Android product, and they have developed a product that goes beyond Google and searches. So Alexa's just a big Google search engine, but the product they have now developed for Android, they haven't launched it yet, does just that.
Self-awareness
Oh,
is a dangerous concept, and
It is.
did
is.
you watch the Blade Runner, the
I did.
latest one?
I did.
They have a test like this in the Blade Runner where they have to actually take this test every so often to make sure that they have not developed self-awareness.
Yep.
And if they do, they're terminated, they're destroyed. So. I feel like this is actually quite prophetic that self-awareness.
I think it's
will-
probably
I think
already
so.
there and has not been released.
Oh.
Yeah, the latest programs are improving themselves. So you've probably heard about this, but they're programming it. There's programs, software
can
programs
learn.
that are learning
Yeah.
and
Self-correcting.
programming
Yeah.
further themselves. So that is kind of first
So it
step.
becomes
Well,
Skynet.
we said that we would do a shorter show tonight. You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed with the team of Kathleen, Jason, Fernando, Ivo, Jamie, and myself, Jeremy Taylor. We do have to thank our sponsors tonight.
All right, let me think. Okay, since we've been talking about computers, let's. Today we are sponsored by Imation floppy disks. The fantastic 3.5 millimeter floppy disks with dizzying storage capacity of 1.44 megabytes
Slow
per
down,
disk.
man. Slow down.
Slow down. You can store all kinds of documents, Word documents, maybe 10, maybe 15 Word documents. You can take a picture with your brand new Canon Rebel camera and store 1/10 of that picture in your Imation disk. Thank you, Imation.
Don't forget about the Sirix processors too.
And we want to thank Eric, the producer, for producing and engineering tonight. We've learned that brown gravy and fries is probably the best thing on the planet, unless we're talking to Jamie, who thinks brown gravy on salt and vinegar chips.
No brown gravy, just salt and vinegar chips.
You're missing out. I'm telling
Thank you for listening, folks. We'll see you next week.
See you.